Hey builders, one of the common gripes on these SalvinosJR Next Gen kits is the warping issue, primarily on the chassis underpan. Typically when you pull one of these out, you're going to have anywhere from 15 to 20% twist from front to back. The chassis should straighten it out as you assemble it, but the typical areas that continue to give you issue is the front wicker bill, which makes mounting the body difficult. Also on the rear end, where this piece has to engage the locator pin, that little stub right there, in the end of the chassis, and the end of the underpan. Which, if successful, if not successful, affects how the rear end hugs the body of the car. I posted a screenshot of my solution, and I thought I'd show you a little bit more explanation of it. So what I've done is, and let me flip my camera. All right, so step one was taking my dehydrator, and I would max out the temperature to about 145, 150. And I would set the underpan in there on the tray. I would try to not get it right on the top. And the way I've cut my rings kind of fixes that itself. I didn't want it directly under the heat source, but I put it in there on that temperature for about 15 to 20 minutes at a time. And I knew I was getting results I wanted because I could just start smelling the plastic smell. So it wasn't melting it, but it was softening it to where it would accept a new shape. Once I got to that point, I would remove the underpan. And I got a 1/8 inch thick piece of steel from Lowe's. This is where I got this one. Good and flat. And set it on that. And then I take these welding magnets from Harbor Freight's, where I found these. I got a pack of 4 for like, gosh, I don't know, $8, $9. And they stick to that sucker good. And you can set them at different angles, so you can use that for all kind of glue up alignment issues, or if you're welding or soldering, they work good for that too. But while this piece was still good and hot, I will just stick her down. And let that sucker cool. Again, I'm doing this in cycles of about 15, 20 minutes at a time. And then I will let it cool until I can no longer smell that plastic smell, which told me that it had cured. And actually, I was probably leaving it for about an hour or so, just doing other stuff. Then I come back out here and check my progress. And actually, with the first application, it really made a big difference. This piece, I had a lot of front twist. I could sit it on a plate and it would look like that almost, where it was still sitting flat in the middle, and even the rear end was bowed up a little bit or had a little bit of twist match front end. Typically, that's what I'm finding on all these that come out of the box. But after my heat treatment, after the first one, when you look at that, that's what it looks like. Have a little bit of bow in the middle still. I'm not really worried about that because the chassis, when you glue it down, is going to straighten that out. But look at that front end, man. Look at that. Nothing. That is locked down tight. Look at the rear end. Look at that. Only in the middle. And, you know, I could probably continue to do my heat cycles and really focus on this middle section. But guys, I'm happy with that. I'm going to start laying my chassis on that. And this is now my 3rd build. I've learned what to try to work on these things and what's really not worth it. I agree with most of the posts on here. A lot of the stuff that we try to do that we did on the old kits were worth the effort. Maybe not so much on these because you're just not going to see them. Maybe eventually I'll do a teardown build where you see these things in the shop either being stripped after a race or getting prepped for for sending to a new race. Maybe if I find a good deal on a donor kit, or I screw one up on the decals or something of that sort, that's the route I'll go, and then I'll just blow that thing up with the detail. But otherwise, guys, these kits are buildable. You just got to do a little bit of the homework. I know some of us like to crank these suckers out in a day, and that's fine. You just got to pick and choose what you want to build on these things. But if you really want to build these things up and get your money's worth out of them, I mean, guys, these things are 50, almost 60 bucks a kit. You can really get your money's worth out of them. But they just take that little extra bit of effort, which is what we're all in this for, is the fun. So build up. See y'all later.